All right, guys. So
it is.
welcome all of you. We are all now in the third day of the lockdown. I hope all of you are safe. All right. These few days, I think I've already sent some messages to you guys last week. If you're able to come by to the show flat, you made it. If not now, everything is through virtual. Okay. And well, stay safe. And I think we just got some news today that you're able to go for the vaccination. So please just go for it, and then do not go out if it's unnecessary. Okay. I'm in a dilemma today. I have been having some discussions with my wife. I'm not so sure whether I should still put my daughters through the preschool because it's all sprouting out everywhere. And I think today there's a new one which is at Catholic High, right? So Catholic High Primary School just hit, and I think this is really quite worrying because first time it's hitting the next generation, isn't it? Okay, so anyway, today's topic is not about that. All right, I think we should always look forward to better things in our life. We hope that and pray that things will get better in the coming months. But today is about me introducing. I think if you guys have followed my YouTube channel, you will also know that this is Damien and Kaiyan, right? I'm very happy to get them in today to share with you their story of how they, as a normal Singaporean family, managed to build their real estate portfolio. And yes, he is my brother, and she is my sister-in-law, right? They are not really, they're quite camera shy, so give them a break. So you can see that his first video that David did with me was a bit funny, isn't it? Okay, so if you ever catch it, right, look at our YouTube channel. I think it's quite amazing. Anyway, they're here today because I thought that their story gives you some inspiration. It also tells you at least the untold story, right? How people are able to do it. Please throw in whatever questions that you have, right? And comments. So this is the time that you're able to kind of go under the into the scene, behind the scene, to find out how they at a young age managed to semi-retire at the age of 32. And when I said semi-retire, I don't know any of you know about sourdough. I do not know what is sourdough, but let me just share with you. It's a bit funny. So what they did was, I think this started when was it circuit breaker?
About last year October.
Last year October, right? So
Yeah.
let me just share this with you. So this is what sourdough is, right? This is what they do here, right? If you have not followed them or you want to eat their delicious sourdough or bread, right? It's at eastvalesourdough.sg. So this is a bread that they ferment, and when I visit my parents' place, the whole place is it's like pretty like a bakery, right? So yeah, so I enjoy the Nutella. I think they can do that. Now they have done other things about it, right? Yeah, just check it out. For them, they're doing this as a hobby at this moment. Yeah, let me just stop this sharing. Just wait, I press on the wrong thing. Okay, so all right, welcome you guys. Today, let's kick off with some of the questions. And maybe before we go into the questions, can you please give us an introduction about the two of you to our listeners?
Hello.
Yeah.
My name is Kaiyan. Yeah, I used to be a real estate agent.
Yeah, I'm Damien here. So slightly about ourselves. Previously, my previous job was in the Air Force, and then I joined real estate. So this is actually my boss. It's my wife. And then
yeah.
Well, what do you want to know about us?
Okay. So as you can see, they're really shy. The first time you're doing this, okay? I think they want to know a little bit of background about maybe about you, maybe after graduating, some of understanding whether were you were you able to retire at this age because you were born from a rich family, you had a sum of money or something like that?
Oh, okay. Maybe let me kick off first. So when I graduated, I was from poly, right? And then during the wait from poly to NS, I was doing some part-time work. And then one day, my parents actually got a letter from Air Force. So they went for the talk and stuff like that. Then they said, "Well, Air Force is, it's a iron rice bowl, so you should go for it." And then it's also because something to do with my diploma. which is aerospace. After that, I doing my part-time work, I got to know my wife. Then it's quite long back. So we thinking to get married, so we're looking for houses, things like that. Then we got a BTO. We decided to get a BTO because both of us that started out. Back then we were not in a real estate.
Right. Is it okay? Is it okay to disclose at the time? Combine. Which year was that? And how old are you at the time?
Which year? I mean, getting my BTO.
When you guys decided to actually buy a house, which year was that?
It was in 2011.
2011. Okay,
That's
so
right.
I can't remember also, but did you all decide to apply for the house first, then you propose, or you propose first, then you apply for a house?
Like most Singaporeans, we bought the house first, BTO first.
Yeah, so back then in the Air Force, they actually
Which year
wanted
was
me
it?
to
Which year was
go.
it? Which year was it?
2011. So the
2011.
Air Force,
Okay, I missed it.
so
Alright.
the Air Force wanted me to go overseas for 2 years.
Okay.
Right, so that was when we made the decision to actually get married, because bringing the spouse over to the US, it's a plus point because you get additional allowance. You see, back then our pay was combined, maybe not even 5K.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was when we started to think about getting a house. So we went to see EC, DBSS, back then the Park Lumiere, and what was that?
Central.
Central 8.
Okay, guys, if you don't
Central
know
8
where these
Express.
places are, Park Lumiere is in Simei area, right? Central 8, that was a DBSS also by Simlian, also located in Tampines. Yeah, you guessed it right. Yeah, the BTO is also in Tampines, okay? Yeah.
So back then we went to the show flat of the EC at City Life.
Okay.
Correct. So of course we could afford, but I was being quite how will you say, like every Singaporean, live within your means. Don't try to stretch too far, things like that.
Okay.
So we decided, okay, BTO, but 4 room or 3 room. Then I did the math calculation and stuff. Better to start it off with a 3 room first.
All right.
And yeah.
Okay. And Kaiyan was okay with the 3 room also?
Yeah.
You did. Okay, can you just let our listeners know in the end, how do you select your 3 room BTO and how much did it cost? And maybe if you can also give them, let them know if you can remember, what was the cost at the time when you saw City Life and Trident at the time per square feet?
City
Can you
Life
remember?
was going at about 500 per square feet.
Okay, so guys, these are ECs,
Right, but I can't.
ECs.
Yeah, it's an EC, but I can't remember what's the quantum already.
Okay.
Right, and sorry, what was the question again?
Okay.
Criteria.
So,
Okay.
how much was your 3 room flat that you bought?
3 room was at actually a quite affordable price at about 228K.
Okay.
Right. All right. Then of course doing the math and stuff, using our CPF plus a little bit of grant back then was about 10K.
Okay.
Because of our income and stuff like that. So our loan was only about 100 plus. Yeah, so to me it looks very affordable. If let's say you have to tap into both our CPF alone, you could finance the house, and all the cash will be able to save up.
Okay, so this was a 65 or 67 square meters house?
67 square meter. So
67
2 square meter is for the aircon ledge.
Oh, okay. And at the time, you both haven't came into the real estate scene yet, right?
No.
I think I was about to go into real estate.
Or you were about to go, but you haven't left your job yet, lah.
haven't. I was taking the RES course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
so I
all
was
right,
in
all
my
right.
previous job then taking RES course.
Okay, so maybe I just let them know is that for buying a BTO, is it true as long as you're able to get a queue number, you're able to select, you should just buy, or it took you guys a while to choose the correct property?
It took us quite a while to choose the correct property. All right, so even though our number was quite good, right, it's a
It's about 20 something.
yeah, 20 something, but I
Oh,
mean,
20
choosing
something very
the
good.
yeah, correct.
Yeah,
So we
okay.
were very lucky.
Yeah, but we still couldn't get the first or second choice that we wanted.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, okay.
So back then, I remember myself going through with you for your advice, which facing, which unit to look at, because we were not only planning. I mean, at that time we were planning that this is our the first and last house. You see,
Okay. But
because
why? I'm just curious. Why is it that you guys had this thinking?
maybe it's from our parents' generation whereby they never really moved house before. So 3 room, and we were also comfortable with 3 room. Um, I mean, if let's say kids comes along, then there'll be a thinking of upgrading. But if not, then we're comfortable with where we stay, you know. And then so the main criteria was obviously like every Singaporean wants, high floor, unblock facing, things like that. And luckily, you chose for us. It's a very private corner whereby come up the lift. There's actually a huge area before the unit.
Okay.
So that was actually what the buyer of our property main
They like,
yeah, they were mainly attracted to that than the house.
Yep. So guys, at the time I was doing that was back in 2011. I was transiting into private, but I had a lot of knowledge on HDB at the time. And then, of course, in this, while doing the business, I realized that some houses of course, have a better preference rather than the other, right? And when we were exploring the designs and where are the locations of the 3 rooms at the time, all the new typical BTOs or 4-room flat, you have two side by side, correct? So you must really have a very good neighbor. Okay, but this 3-room was quite interesting because as you come out from the lift, there's a huge big foyer. On the right hand side will actually be a 2-room, right? A 2 and another 3, is it?
both are two rooms.
Both are 2 rooms. So on the right hand side was two rooms, and on the left hand side was an exclusive entire stack of just three-room flats. So this was really amazing. I thought that was very special. And then obviously they, before they select, they already had all these first choice, second choice, third choice, and then before their turn is already been taken. So they just took the next best unit. But it really stands out, this unit. People will really love the privacy. You have the entire space. Some of the neighbors downstairs put tables outside because no one bothered them. Right? So it was, instead of being at the other corner. So the attributes for such units are important even if you buy a BTO. Of course, the most important is to get a queue number, but do not just buy for the sake of buying, because you're going to face issues when you're going to sell it in future, right? Back when we were running the estates, serving buyers and sellers, some of the customers bought BTO at the Tampines Street 71, 72 series, where this poaching is. Some of their 5-room flats were actually just outside the central dustbin area. It was really difficult to sell. Even though they got a very cheap price, they got to really sell at a very good price just to get a buyer interested. Okay? Right? Anything else?
I have one client also, because they tried many times and then they didn't have a good queue number. End up they just wanted to say because they have a baby coming. So they bought a second floor just beside the rubbish chute. And then they had second and third one, and then they have to upgrade. So at that point of time when they want to sell, it was not much of a choice of the price, because they needed space urgently. So it puts them in a very bad spot. So is for those viewers out there, if you have the chance, maybe he could try another BTO or private instead.
Alright,
Because
guys.
for us, sorry, for us, we could choose the EC, right, back then, because the building and the selling was about the same time as us. I did compare the prices. I would have made more profit with the EC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But then again,
So,
at that time, obviously the monthly installment is a bit different.
of course, but if let's say my take would be if we are young and we are able to work, so just work it off for the profit.
Okay, guys, you just joined us. This is Damien and Kaiyan having a conversation with them on how they built their real estate portfolio from 450K all the way to 2.2 million in a short 5 years. This is also my brother and sister-in-law. Damien has come on board to Fast Track Property, right? He's working together with customers today, managed to get him out of his semi-retirement. So today, basically, is a dialogue with him to just ask him some real hard questions, even for you guys to benefit, those of you that want to listen to on a replay, or for all of you listening to us right now, whatever questions that you felt that you think might relate to you, or things that you, or questions that you want answered, put in the comment section, and then we'll come back to it in a short while. All right. Now, there are some questions that actually came in. I want to ask you is that so for all the listeners today, for first timers, right? Would you then ask them to go for a BTO today, or to go for a resale HDB, an EC, or a private condominium resale, or a new launch?
Okay, I would say that what are they able to afford? Right? If they are able to afford the highest tier and they are young in age, go for that, because you're still young and working. Right? Again, back then, if let's say we did decide to go with the EC, we could have actually made more profit.
All right.
But if you are about coming to retirement, then of course you got to think about what is the risk appetite you are able to handle. Right? To
Okay.
me, if you are, I got 30 years to pay off the loan, obviously I will go for the one that gives the highest, or rather the net value. Yeah.
Okay.
So if let's say a condo is 1 million, of course I'll go for that instead of BTO that is.
Okay. Okay. So anyway, this is Damien just sharing if what he could have done in the past. Am I right?
Right.
Okay, you can remember. Okay. All right. Just hang on. Let me just check my messages. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay. Why did you sell away your BTO? Why not keep it and just buy another private property?
Oh, because of the ABSD.
You bought your MOP was in 1819.
18. 18?
1919.
19.
Yeah,
19. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had this property under two names.
Right.
The BTO,
Right.
yeah.
So what changed? From earlier, you were thinking to yourself, this is going to be my first and last house, to selling away your property. To even, it's just 5 years. What changed?
Well, because both of us are in the real estate industry, so we got exposed to a lot of different options. Yeah, beginning when we bought the BTO, we wanted to just stay there because I mean that was the belief that we had, and then we inherited that belief from our parents. Just own a HDB and then that's good enough. But then when we were in the real estate line, then we realized that hey, actually you can do a lot more with property. And then we learn the trends of property prices.
Okay.
Like it is. Then we realized that actually BTO HDB, when they reach their MOP period, it's actually a good opportunity to sell them off, and then use the profits to invest in private property. That will make more sense.
Okay.
Yeah, for our
Yeah.
portfolio.
So basically, what I'm trying to say is we're trying to grow with with the first pot of gold. You see, so we have a few clients whereby they reach their MOP, they sell their property, then they invest, and then they grow their portfolio even bigger. And then you also advise us. So with that, I mean, we were weighing our options to what to do with this pot of gold. So if we put it inside the bank, it is going to give us a very low interest. So what is it got to do with this? What do we have to do with this pot of gold to accumulate more pots of gold? Yeah.
Okay.
I think in this era, everyone is all talking about investing, how to invest and stuff like that.
Okay, so okay, we have another listener who's just asked a question. Is that they say thank you so much for sharing, right? And then they asked that, so you all started with a 3-room flat back then, sort of after MOP, but in the meantime, during your MOP phase, did you all rent out the extra rooms back then?
No. We wanted the privacy. I was contemplating after the first year because I mean it's good
Because you saw me do
rental,
it,
right?
right?
But yeah.
Because you saw me do it.
Imagine 700 or 750 a month. That will actually help to pay off the monthly mortgage, the monthly installment.
Okay.
So why not? But we like privacy very much.
Okay.
So yeah, correct.
All right. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. They did not. All right. So I think everyone has different comfort level or demands and requirements in the house. But I think at a time, once Kaiyan's business picked off in the property sector, right? They had a choice to enjoy the privacy.
Yeah.
So they rather not make that $700 and then they do more cases outside. Okay. All right. Is it all right? Okay, so maybe just to put things in perspective for all of you listeners out there, is that for Kaiyan, when you came to real estate, I think it was around 2012 plus minus, is it?
Yeah,
Right.
2012.
And then when did Damien come in?
015.
So about 3 years later.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I don't know whether you can remember, but what was your average income, okay, Kaiyan, when you started to come on board? I mean, for the next 5 years during your MOP phase, before Damien came in.
I cannot remember. Less than 10K. Less than around 5 to 8.
Around $5,000 to $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
Less expenses should be about 5, maybe.
Less expensive of $5,000 a month. So plus you at the time before you came to real estate, add together is about $8,000, right?
8,000, yeah, correct.
8,000, okay. So all right, so that's for everyone to know basically what was the income like, and later I'll ask a series more questions so you're able to benefit from this session more, right? Next is that oh yeah, so I think you did touch this a bit, but maybe you can elaborate a bit. Can you share with us on what were your personal thoughts on buying 2 private properties? And besides what you mentioned earlier about the pot of gold, what are your reasons for actually going to think about doing that in the past? I mean, it's already so demanding from all of us to even buy 1 private property, and you go on to buy 2.
Wow, okay.
You start off with a 3-room HDB flat, right? So I'm very sure for a 3-room HDB flat, if you took on a loan which was less than 100 grand, right?
Yes.
Every month, how much are you paying in installments?
I even shortened the years. So about 1,000, less than 1,000, slightly less than shy of 1,000.
Okay. And then when you look at 2 properties with a debt you're going to take in, and the new installments.
Sorry again, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, with the new debt that you're gonna take in, right?
Uh-huh.
New installments. Wouldn't you very frightened? Why go for two, not just go for one?
Yes. So back then, because wow, we were very, very, very scared on that decision. So, but luckily we were very we are savers, you know. So throughout our whole journey until now, we didn't even we could afford a car, but we don't want to.
Oh, savers.
省钱啊，
省钱啊，存钱啊，
yes,
存钱啊
yes.
saving money. Okay.
Saving money.
All right. I thought you were saving people.
Oh no, we are savers. So
Okay.
yeah.
Very
So,
tricky.
yeah, very thrifty, and then until now we don't own a car, things like that. So even though we could afford it, with that, so I always like to work on the 5 years goal. You see, so back then when I achieved our house, what was our next goal?
Mhm.
So at first it was only one property, right? Back then, if the loan was at 80%. Okay, so I was working.
You took it from the bank, is it? Bank loan?
80% loan, as in
HDB.
for the next house, for the private.
Oh, for private,
For
80%.
for private, yeah, 80%, correct. So back then we were thinking how to explore from one BTO and then we shift it to the one private,
Okay.
and whether it makes sense or not. So we combine everything. Yes, we could afford, and then there you go, telling us whether we are able to afford two instead. Because one, if we are able to achieve, let's say at least 50% of the equity, why not have two whereby you can achieve it in the same period of time, which is a good idea. But I was very afraid because
So basically,
the
I'm brother with the horns that keep disturbing you.
but I mean it's good. It keeps me. It makes both of us think what to prepare for our future. You see. So I did the math and everything. Even though we are saving, but we were still lacking a bit. So then we try to push ourselves to, of course, earn more. So
Okay.
that when it hits our MOP, yes, now we are able to get two. So we were quite, I would say, I did all the calculations and
Okay,
being-
sorry to interrupt you, Damien Kaiyan. Okay, you always say that you're a saver, that you're thrifty. I mean, I also think I am thrifty. So, what is your meaning of thrifty? Our listeners won't understand the meaning of thrifty, right? Maybe you can let them know how much you save based on your income collected, a percentage.
How much is it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no,
I
don't know.
cannot remember.
I don't remember the amount, but whatever comes in, I'll just park it aside. So I probably only have 500 to 1,000 every month just to spend on. The rest I just park it aside.
I beg your pardon? You only spend $500 to $1,000 a month.
Right.
As in, so two of you will be about 2K lah.
That's without insurance or that. Insurance.
Yeah, that's without.
Insurance costs a lot.
I mean, aside from insurance lah, so we don't really spend. I never really calculate, or we don't really calculate how much we save. Our goal is to hit a certain amount at a certain So, example, by half a year, by 1 year, we need to hit maybe about 50K, and then we set that as a goal. You see. So
yeah, I know. But I'm just trying to imagine. When you say 500 to 1,000 is two of you combined, that is your expenditure based on
No,
your personal spending, or you're talking about 2K?
combined expenses only lah. Aside, if you let's say you calculate insurance and stuff like that, maybe
No, I don't talk about
2K.
insurance. It's just your spending.
1,000.
Maybe around there.
About 1,000.
Okay, though this is insane, all right. So, even though we are brothers, we are very different, all right. I enjoy a bit of lifestyle. This person, he is He's very he's really very thrifty, and then then he goes by viewing. He take a bus, or he will hop onto the customer's car, right? And then they actually save money like that, so they don't have to have much transportation. Okay, so anyway, that's how they spend about $1,000 a month for two of them. So you can imagine, if let's say, so at the time when you came into the industry in 2015, what was your combined income at the time?
Oh, I didn't start off well, so it was only on her income.
Okay, but after
Yeah.
that, for the next 5 years, at least before you bought your two condominiums, what
Right.
was the average income combined?
Average 20K.
$20,000 a month.
Yeah.
All right. So guys listening over here, okay, especially in this group, a lot of you have amazing income. All right. So to them, you can see, I can't imagine this. Okay. I can't imagine how am I. Okay, my girl's expenses a month is for schooling is already $1,700 just to bring to them to school. Two of them at 3,004. So I don't know how they survive on $1,000. I knew they were very thrifty, all right, but I didn't know to what extent, right? So basically, they said they make about 200 plus a year, and spending about, okay, let's give them $2,000, $24,000. They were saving a lot of money, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons. Okay, when so obviously I know about this because when the new rulings came in 2018, somewhere in July, 6 or 7, I can't remember. They brought down their LTV from 80 to 75. It did affect a lot of people, especially if you're buying two properties of $1 million each. Okay, it's going to be additional 5, correct? It's a
Yes.
total of $100,000. So it will have set many families apart if you guys were not saving. And from two, and you haven't had your MOP, you'll be, oh no, what is it going to do? Forget it. Let's just settle with one. But because they did have this savings, they were still able to proceed with two properties. All right. So I think a lot of you out there, when you come on the Zoom session with me, you realize that a lot of our plans are always two, right? One coming out the blueprint, and the other one is also your personal savings. Okay. Right. Thank you for sharing that. Right. Any more questions, guys? Feel free to throw it at them. It's fine. All right. Here you're all about sharing. Again, give you as much information as possible to let you know that you do not need to have a crazy income. Many of you out there listening here, your income for combined income is easily more than $30,000-$40,000 a month. All right. So to them, they started off with not much money. You slowly build it up. Even making $200,000 a year, it also had a lot of sacrifices, right? In terms of family time, because we're doing sales, and also we have a lot of expenses in the property line, and they are also bought insurance, right? Okay, but if you set your mind to do something, okay, I guess now I would say that, was it worth it?
Yeah, because worth it.
Right.
You can see paper returns already.
Okay, so this is the question. I hope I answered your question. Yeah, how do you manage to afford two private properties? So this has been answered already. Now, this is more interesting. That I think is in many people's mind is how did you protect yourself from the risk of having two much larger loans compared to just a HDB loan?
Sorry again, can you repeat that?
Okay, how do you plan your finances? All right. Upon taking up two large loans today, you guys are semi-retired. Okay, how do you prepare for that?
Okay. So
Yeah.
basically, we are a little bit unusual. We really like at least 2-3 years. How to say? If let's say both of us are not working and stuff like that, to cushion these 2-3 years of loan payment. So upon purchasing the property, I did not even use a single CPF because I mean, we all know, right? If let's say we keep our CPF in the account, government is actually giving us the interest. So that is the very first cushion. Another one, of course, we have like safety net for another fund whereby it can last us for at least a year. Because we need about we bought 2 new launch, we need about at least 3 years
I don't understand.
of a crisis fund.
You need 3 years, or you need 3 years of crisis fund.
Correct. Yeah.
And
so
this
the
is
first
on top of your CPF backup that you have.
correct. Yeah. So the CPF will be the first cushion.
And that one can last you for how long?
Roughly 2 years.
You're talking about full mortgage payments, right?
Yes.
Or do you calculate based on possible rental income?
Full
CPF.
mortgage payments. No
No rental.
For 2 properties.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Not
So
even,
basically, hang on. So basically, your CPF that you have is able to tie through how many years again of no rental?
2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years. And on
Yeah.
top of these 2 to 3 years that your CPF have, you still have sizable cash. They can tie through
Yes.
another 3 years.
Another at least 2 years lah.
At least 2 years.
Yeah.
So basically, you have about 5 years of crisis fund. Is it?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so this is really amazing, right? Basically, they have strategized it in a way whereby the first hit you want to use is your CPF or your cash.
It depends on the economy, you see. So if let's say we need the cash, then we'll use the CPF. But if we don't need the cash, we use the cash first, of course. The cash is the first option.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so basically, these past few years, your CPF is you're still making interest from CPF, right?
Yeah.
And if let's say economy doesn't do well and you don't get your capital gains, if you rent it out, right? Does it make sense that your crisis fund of 5 years could potentially become 10 years?
Yes. With the
Possible, right?
rental income, yes.
Okay, so guys, so this is how basically you can see they are not stressed at all. I mean, apart from their thrifty lifestyle, they don't spend much, right? But what I really enjoyed is amazing for myself is that he's able to have the choice of not working. He hasn't been working. For the past 多久了?
Since end of 19.
End of 19.
Since end of 19.
No lah. 2020.
20 yeah, end 19 then 2020. I said not working like
Okay, just not working.
Full gear.
not on full gear, yeah.
They are really very chill. Okay, they are very chillax people. Goodness. All right. So the CB was then they explored doing their sourdough and then they enjoyed it so much. No matter how much I ask them to come back to work, they are like no need lah. Okay, it's horrible, isn't it? Right. So anyway, this is just to show you how a different family in Singapore does their planning, the choices they have in their life, all right, and then how they plan for it in their earlier years. Okay. Next thing is that can you share with us your fears and obstacles before you both move forward with this plan? Okay, so I think what this question means is that I think there are many people who are also in your situation. I mean, guys, you gotten a 3-room flat and you converted it into 2 properties. It's just amazing, right? And I think the whole reason why you could do that was because you did a lot of savings for your first 5, 6, 7 years because you had to wait for it to build, right? You were already saving money. So I think that really propelled you into where you are today. But I guess what they're saying is that many people start off also with a 3 or 4-room flat, okay? And jumping into 2 properties, I am sure there's a lot of fears, and they are not like you or like us in a property line. Okay, so what they're asking is that what were your fears and obstacles, even in this you being in this line, that you faced and you're able to overcome it? Because I'm sure there's this little voice in your head that's saying that don't be crazy lah, 卖笑啦.
Yeah.
You know, just keep your money in your bank and just don't do anything about it. You're already in such a comfortable position. Why put yourself in such a uncomfortable position? You know what I mean? Yeah. So they just wanted you to just expound on that, explain that a little bit.
Being a property, I guess the fear is the same for everyone, whether you're in the property line or not. Because in the property line, you understand how the market trend, and then you have like data and statistic to tell you that this is the way to go. But then when you're about to do it, then like what you say, there's this voice at the back of your head telling you, what if it fails? What if you don't make money? What if you lose all your money like after buying the two property, or like some crisis happen, then your money is all stuck in the property, you cannot pick up. But then I guess thanks to Damien, he is he did a lot of calculation. So both of us are very risk adverse people. And then we consulted a lot of people on whether this is the right way to go. We consulted you also on which property to buy, which is the right choice, all that. And then we also make sure that we have a lot of
Safety
protection,
nets,
safety net
nets.
protection in between. And then please continue.
So basically, my wife is actually more scared. So every time I go into this topic, she'll be like, "Are you sure? Is it the right way to go? Why do you want to put yourself at risk?" But after calculations, even though we have no choice but to rent out the property, at least I would say, property, when we make mortgage payment, there is this principal and interest. At least this tenant is paying the interest. We just have to pay the principal. So even though we are paying the principal for 30 years, we are young, we are able to work. At least at the end of the day, we have a better choice to downgrade if we were to retire, to downgrade to a HDB, things like that. But if we are stuck at a 3-room HDB, I think the next downgrade is a 2-room or old folks home. I'm not too sure. Correct. So
this is called the 老人公寓 for HDB. You buy those. Yeah.
So basically, we would like to have bigger options, but of course, 辛苦一点啦, young that time, we have to really work for it. So even though, to me, calculation really makes a lot of sense. So if the calculation don't make sense at all, this whole idea can just throw away. So I am a person that likes to do calculation because the facts are there. And if I'm able to, even though the property goes down and things like, if I'm able to at least write off the way for about 3-5 years, I'm sure the property will go back up. So risk is very minimum rather than going to me, stocks. Stocks, very hard to predict. It's like, to me, gambling, you see. So you put your money there, the next thing you know, you wake up, the money is actually, the stocks actually went down drastically, things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So I find property is a safe bet.
Okay. I think it's more predictable. I think stocks and shares are also good. I think you will have a different mindset. Personally, I feel that if you are a stockbroker from day one, not in property, right? Because you're very familiar with it, so I guess it's a bit different when you have a lot of experience in one area or not. But I still think that property is one of the best hedge against inflation and the most dependable, because companies can go bankrupt like High Flux, but properties cannot disappear. Okay. Personally, that's how I feel. And I wanted to share the listeners. I hope you guys don't mind. But I still remember this conversation I had with the two of you, which I thought was quite good, because I wanted to let our listeners, for you guys to really get the most out of this, let you know that every single family has its own issues and troubles, and I think being able to manage that and to plan for it is actually what makes one family different from the other family. All right. So for them, I think based on my parents, our parents, all right, are kind of self-sufficient. They are quite okay. But I know that Kaya's parents basically they needed her to support them if there was anything that happens, because I think among the siblings, she's able to be the one to afford. And I think she took it upon herself that if anything happened, she will not be asking from her siblings to assist if they could, maybe in a small way. And I'm sure she will be the one that come out the lion's share. Am I right? At the time? All right. So at the time, they also had this fear if you're going to go in and buy two properties, then how? All right. So I had this conversation with them, and then I told them if that's the case, then we got to put a sum of money aside that cannot touch on. It is supposed to be for her parents, and that shouldn't be part of this investment, right? Maybe you'd like to explain a little bit about that. I can't remember the full conversation, but I knew I said something about that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So my parents are elderly. Then both my mom was a housewife. Then my dad retired. So and then both of them didn't really have any savings. So my brothers were not. They both had families to support. My first brother had like 2 children, so it was the burden was quite heavy on him. So then
You came along to help out lah.
so I mean, in terms of like crisis, if let's say my parents needed money, I didn't want to have to go and ask my brothers for money.
Okay.
Yeah lor.
So I think this is something whereby they also did some planning on that. And the most important that I actually took back when I had this conversation from her was that her parents had no choice. Meaning to say that her parents owned a 4-room HDB, a 4S HDB at Bedok Reservoir, right? It was fully paid, but they couldn't maneuver anywhere. Is it like what Damien said? Even if they downgrade, not much money out. Is it like that?
I don't think they will downgrade because for them it's more on memories with the children.
They were not those that
Yeah.
were receptive to like selling their house, then
Correct.
downgrade, like changing house. They were
Like this is the first and last home.
Yeah.
Oh,
kind.
but then
Yeah.
if you have no money to spend, then how?
It's still the first and last home. They won't. I don't think they will touch the property
to
at
them,
all.
like selling and buying house is
It's not even in their
Yeah.
mind.
Okay, that means,
Yeah,
that
they've
means
never
it's
done
very
it.
lucky that the children are given it allowance. The reason why I ask this is because I know nowadays many families have their own difficulties, and they already find it very difficult to give a lot of money to look after their parents. You know? Yeah, okay, anyway, so this is just a sidetrack, yeah? Now, next thing is that okay, this is interesting. So Damien Kaiyan, if you could go back in time, right, what would you have done differently?
In time when?
Okay, I mean about property, not getting a different wife, you know.
Or as in a BTO, you mean?
Yeah. I mean your property selections or decisions at that time, what would you have done differently?
I think it's your.
Yeah.
I think Damien would have gotten the EC.
Yeah, I would have gotten the EC because you would have made more profits. So, but again, I was so scared on taking on that big loan and stuff like that. So that's how my mind changed. That's how we decided to go on 2 properties because we want to hatch it faster. You see. So back then if I could EC, if I could even afford a private, let's go for a private.
I think at $5,000 quite tough lah. I think
back then was very cheap. Back then was even cheaper. it's so different from now. Now you can see the EC is about 1,001 per square feet.
Oh no,
Back then also.
I was speaking about private properties, not ECs.
Oh,
They have gotten
Mm.
a resale or a new launch, because at the time I'm very sure you didn't have the mindset of rent where you stay and buy where you invest.
no,
Everyone
now of
was
course not.
looking
Yeah.
to buy for own stay,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And therefore
yeah.
you will not be thinking of leasing a place out or anything like that. You're thinking of, I want to buy something. You have to take it upon yourself to pay off the mortgages. So I think going to a private property would have been a bit far-fetched, especially at the time when Kaiyan was looking to come to the real estate industry.
Mm.
EC makes
EC.
more sense. EC makes more sense. Okay, that's nice. All right. So guys, if you're joining us just now, all right, welcome. And those listen to the replay, if you have any questions, this whole footage will be posted in YouTube also for you to ask more questions. If not, then you'll be here first, right? Ask them as many questions as you need, because I think it will help. Is helpful for the younger ones, right? And also I think for the older ones, something that you're able to pick up even one or two things from them, I think will help you in your planning or your decision making later on. Right? So next question is that what are your plans with regards to your real estate portfolio in the next 5 years? Okay, so anyway, you are looking to sell one already, right?
Yes.
So what will be 5 years this year? It'll change already. Okay, yeah.
Okay. So for us, we'll just be we'll just be selling and buying. All right. Our main plan is to of course travel. So for real estate wise, as long as it's able to earn the money and to double up our equity, we just go. We are not going for more than 2 properties, because that will hit the ABSD. So it doesn't make sense, because when you buy the third property, or rather, yeah, or third, so then you will be stuck because you are unable to sell anymore.
Okay.
So maybe I'm still thinking might go into commercial, but not yet. Just go residential first.
Okay, so in the next 5 years, you're looking to, what do you mean by double out your equity? I don't understand.
So I'm planning to sell mine. So once I sold, I'll see which the next good buy, and I will go into it again.
Okay, you have any now in mind? Okay, where are you? When are you selling? When are you selling yours?
I exercise it on June, near end of June. So July.
Is it okay for you to share with our listeners where you bought?
Yeah, I bought at the Park Colonial.
Okay, Park Colonial is just at
Woodleigh
MRT station. Okay.
Yeah.
At the time when they bought, it was under my advice. I didn't just go for it, but at the time it was really high for the area. Obviously now everyone will be saying, "Wow, of course not so cheap," but trust me, at that time it's very expensive. Okay. Yeah, but it's just that we were very drawn to this area because we saw the potential, and we thought that it was a safe investment decision, I would say. Yeah. And the property has gone up.
So now I checked, there is already a sub sale going on, advertising at about 2,001 per square foot, near to 2,002 per square foot.
Yeah. For your model. For your room type.
Correct.
Are you tempted to sell now? Are you going to lease it now?
Maybe after around June, maybe.
June is just next month, yeah?
Yeah, correct.
So estimated, what type of returns are you looking at?
What kind of returns? I think I said about 2001, 2002 per square feet would be great. So looking at about 300 per square feet.
300 per square feet. What type of ROI are we looking at?
I never really calculate the ROI. I just go into the big figure.
Okay, so for the benefit of our listeners, we're going to give as much as possible. Okay,
Right.
if let's say you bought about
1.1.
1.1 million, your down payment was at the time 25 plus 4. You had 4%, right?
Yes, correct.
25 plus 4 is 29%, right? Minus 15,400 plus 3.5 means your capital was about 307K for Park
Alright.
Colonial, correct?
Okay.
Correct, right?
I'm not too sure. I need to check my Excel.
Okay, should be 307. And if you can sell at about 2.1, you're saying?
Yeah, 2.1. So it's about 200.
1.33 million.
1.3. Yes, around there.
So you make about 233 divide by
Okay.
307. Well, that's a very good return. It's about 76% return. 76%.
Oh, okay.
Right? 76% over how many years?
Over how many years? 2 years? Haven't 2 years yet.
Oh, haven't 2 years yet. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So
basically,
this
you won't be
June
selling
will
at
be 2
2.1,
years.
you'll be throwing in a 4% inside.
Yep.
Correct. Okay, so this is a strategy. All right, it's something that I shared with him. Instead of waiting till the TOP and start to compete with the rest of his neighbors. All right, I am quite confident that for this property, many will not want to sell. Why? Very simple. Because the early buyers like himself would be very comfortable and looking for a property. Unlike us, it could be quite exhausting for you guys, right? So a lot of them, because they bought a property at 1,700 plus per square feet at a time at Park Colonial, right next to Woodley MRT station, I am very sure it's going to TOP somewhere next year, right?
TOP, they say estimated end of the year.
End of this year.
Fourth quarter, yeah.
Okay, I think it could be delayed by another quarter somewhere. I think it is a little bit. It's quite safe to say 2022. I can guarantee you, almost guarantee, not such a good word to say, right? Okay, but most people will be putting it on a rental because they'll be thinking to themselves, why am I going to sell this at 1,007, make the profits, and buy something at 2,000 plus? Okay, but if you know per square feet for newer properties will keep going up, and if you can find something that was like the arbitrage position that you could have gotten last year for Penrose, that would just be
Right.
very amazing, right? If not, then right, he's just looking to exit at 76%, which comes up to yearly about in excess of 30%. If he's able to put his property first, because he bought it earlier on, he has a good stack, isn't it? And because of that, he's able to command a better price, and he'll just throw in a 4% to the buyer to buy. And I think it could be done. Okay, right? So anyway, this is what you're gonna do. Then after that, what you're gonna buy, don't know yet. Sell first and think about it.
Yeah, we see how's the next one.
Right. So this is part of the secret to living a happy life, right? Don't worry forward. Okay, right. So all right, guys, if you have any questions, please do ask us. Right, this is again Damien and Kaiyan in conversation with them, showing us about their investment journey in Singapore. As an average household purchasing a 3-room HDB property BTO back in 2011, that property made quite good money, right? How much did you sell it for? I was saying, right, 450. He changed from 450 to 2.2 million. Yeah, so he sold it for 450K. He took back a lot of cash because he had been using cash to pay off the property, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so let me just see if there's any more questions. If not, then okay, this is quite interesting. All right. Both of you have been in this industry for a while now, even though you have kind of not touched base with the market for the past 1 year. But from the news and your feel coming back to the market today, what are your thoughts on the present market now? And does it still make sense to own 2 properties now with the present uncertain economic climate? And now lockdown again, huh?
Lockdown. For me, it's all about if you're able to afford, go for it. don't wait for it to be, if this certain property price is no longer there. Last time it used to be 500 plus PSF. It slowly creeps up to about 1,000. Now we are really looking at about 2,000 per square feet. So what happens if people just keep waiting? And you see, if previously if I didn't buy a BTO and I could afford to private, I think I would be in a very different position now. So if you're able to afford, just go for it. Of course, picking the right launch or property, it makes a very different thing, because I've known of some clients, yes, they bought, but they bought the wrong property. All right, so then they are stuck because now they are at a negative, or rather, they no one likes to sell their property at a negative. So they all want to at least break even or even make some profit before they sell. And then the price just keep creeping up, because Singapore is, I think the government is good and everything. So I can only see the property going upwards. That's how they bring in a lot of cooling measure so that there's no bubble burst.
Okay. So let's look from a female's perspective. Do you agree with your husband?
I think for me it is more of needs.
All right.
Yeah, if you need a home now, no matter what the price, you will buy the property. Yeah.
Okay.
But he has a point in that if let's say you don't buy now, because property market in Singapore is just going to be higher and higher. I don't think that if property prices in Singapore will fluctuate too much, like it will be at a high today and then tomorrow it will go down very low. I don't think that will happen. So if let's say your needs are to buy a property, you just go for it.
Okay. So slightly different from the husband. Husband a bit more towards profitability. If you can afford, please go for it. For investment, I think it will make a lot of sense. For a female perspective, it's more about if you need to buy, then you should just buy for own stay, right? But what you say does make sense for people that can afford, because today, what is real that is happening today are a few things. What is this sound I'm hearing? Da, 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 da. Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I can.
Can, right? Okay, so what's happening today is that there are a few things. Is number one, prices are quite high for HDBs. It's still high. I think I've said this since the beginning of the year already. If you are selling, you can always bump up the price. People will buy, will pay, unless you are faced with ethnicity issues. Or ethnicity is, for example, Chinese or a particular race cannot buy your property. Yes, you're going to be a little bit marginalized in terms of the asking price. And in the market outside, even for the resale condominiums, they're asking for higher prices, and most of them, especially for HDB, don't need to talk, right? HDB valuers, most of them cannot match the prices. Okay, for resale condominiums, you got to really squeeze the valuers and the banks to push up to match the value. Okay, so to me, actually, if you really need a place to stay, try to find an alternative. All right, staying with parents or with your siblings or something like that, because the amount to pay is really high. And do not expect, especially if you buy a resale HDB, for it to come back to what you're paying today. All right. For myself, my property in Tampines has finally reached the same price as what I bought in 2012. But can you imagine if I was living there for the past 9 years? And the reason why I can sell at the same price that I bought, but if I renovated the house, I stayed there, I paid interest, I didn't rent it out, I would still be looking at a negative sale today. All right. So this is actually the the trade-off that you're going to have. So I would rather really you rent a place outside. If you don't want to invest in a property, it's fine. I'd rather you just rent a place outside, buy a BTO, wait for the market to cool down a little bit before going in and getting your HDB or even resale price for the matter. Right? To me, personally, I think the new law makes more sense today because developers do not adjust their price so high. But again, you cannot just anyhow buy properties. All right? Like what Damien said earlier, people do buy the wrong properties and therefore it didn't perform. All right? Can you give some examples? What were some of the customers' properties that they bought that didn't make sense?
So basically, a lot of them bought resale HDB, and they bought in back at your time 201213.
三星市, yeah.
So they all came to me and then just say that is there any cash for them to take back? So end up plus the CPF interest and stuff, that's not possible. But for those, of course, that bought their properties, like example, first-hand owners, definitely they have the capital gains to cushion off the CPF interest. See, and then there's also, of course, the private resale, whereby they went in, whereby it's the peak period. So normally the peak period is always when it TOPs. So then from there they are unable to sell at the price again.
Yeah, okay. So this has been a constant debate that I have with many people in regards to should they use cash to pay for the property, should they use CPF to pay for property. The argument and the debate never ends, with one party. I still remember it's so weird. I had this person commenting in YouTube, right, telling me that I have made a mistake in giving them an example of why is it that I have one video that says about they lost much money in Scott Square and in reflections, right? So this subscriber was saying that if that's the case, it's funny that I actually gave him an example of if you're able to sell at the same price you bought, it means it is profitable. All right. That was not the main point in the whole video. In the whole video is excuse me. The whole video is actually giving you an option that buying a property in Singapore, you will really not lose money if you bought the right property. But even if you were to buy a wrong property and you rent it out, all right, you will also not lose money. That's something I like about property. Okay, and if for Scott Square, if you could actually have that property as a freehold, paying off the property for 30 years, and thereafter you just continue to receive about $4,500 to $5,000 of passive income thereafter for retirement, I think is also awesome. All right. Then again, the real question today that I always share with them is that how do we shorten the time to buy the correct property so that, like Damien, able to sell within 2 to 3 years, make the capital return? You must understand they put in $300,000. Oh, you never use cash, right? Sorry, you never use CPF, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they took $307,000 into this property, selling it for $230,000 gain, right? They're going to get back about $500,000 by next year, and thereafter, she's going to buy a second property, another property again, right?
Yeah. Do we invest again?
Yeah, it's a bit different now. You know why? Because okay, how much you intend to invest next year?
It depends on the property.
Yeah, but
so if I'm able
what's
to
in your
use
mind?
that
Will
amount
you
of cash
be
plus my loan,
are you going to put in all 500K inside?
if it makes sense.
If it makes sense, is it? Okay. But he
Yeah, because if let's say-
he has a choice because his initial capital of 300K, 307K, he could take back half of it, 150. With the other 200 and another 150K, gives him about another 350 to buy a second property. Right? And now he's purchasing the next property, of which half of it, more than half of it, is from the returns of his investment property. That is very different. Right? So for me, I really love this. So of what if is a better property for him to invest that he can use more, is again an option that he's able to have, right?
Yep.
Okay, right. Thank you for your time. Okay, this is going to be a short session, not too long. Okay. Again, I apologize for the delay earlier. I see that there's no more questions. Do you have anything you want to add on to all our listeners here? So okay, guys. So Damien is also one of the members in this group. So you also see him sometimes commenting or saying some stuff inside, right? The chat room. Just say hello to him, right? And do note that for last year, all the other sessions I had with the valuers, with the bankers, they are all found inside this group. Reach out to them if you ever need any help. All right. Okay. Oh yes, and I just found something today. I always find it quite interesting because when I sold some of my customers' properties, there's this component that has to be written into your CPF OA for what they have used, right? And if you are already above 55, and if you have fulfilled your RA minimum sum, this amount normally will go back into your OA and then bounce off back into your bank account, correct? Right? Okay, but I just realized today that you are able to put in a request to CPF to keep that monies in the OA and not touch them, and keep it there like your own bank account, like per se lah, right? Per se, right? So that was what I did, but a bit late because the unit that we have sold, Savannah, okay, completes this Friday. I met the lawyers today and I realized I can do that. So we all make mistakes, right? Some things we do not know. I just wrote into CPF because the amount returning to our accounts is in excess of $500,000. And to get a 2.5% is almost $13,000 a year extra that CPF pays you. Okay, and the best thing is that because the I account for my father-in-law has already been fulfilled, right? When we bought the Momentum Park, at any time he needs to withdraw the money, he can just withdraw it. It is almost instant. According to the person, it's instant. They have a PayNow account in their inside. If they have a PayNow account with them, they can just log in the CPF and withdraw the amount they want to use, and it goes to their account. All right, within minutes. So it's just terrific. So do take note. 2 weeks, even the lawyers don't share this with you until you ask. 2 weeks prior to your completion, write into CPF, and how to write in basically is log into your CPF account and go under mailbox, right? Choose the subject and so forth, and just say hi. I like to put all my money to let it remain in your OA, and guess what? You have it all in OA. Okay, much better than your FD in a bank. Okay, the reason why we are doing it is because my parents-in-laws are very risk-averse person. I asked them, why not you leave the money with me and then I buy stocks with it? And then, yeah, they didn't allow. Okay. All right. So any last words that you like to say to our listeners before we end off the call?
Stay safe. Stay at home if possible during this period of time. Yeah, a lot of new unlinked cases nowadays. Wow, it's really scary.
Yeah, it's very scary. All right. Well, it's the same thing here. Stay safe, guys. All right. Appreciate your time that you spend to listen to the three of us. All right. Next 1 month is going to be some sort of a challenge for us, but I'll try to put in some more conversations if possible. All right, for all of us to learn in this period of time. And right, that's it. Take care. Good night. Hey, thanks, Damien.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.